My boss owed me $15,000 in unpaid wages. When I asked for my money, he laughed in my face and said, "Sue me." So I didn't just sue him. I reported him to the Department of Labor, the IRS, and eventually the FBI. By the time I was done, he was arrested for fraud, lost his business, and went to prison for 3 years. And I bought his competitor's company and hired all his former employees. This is the most satisfying revenge I've ever gotten. Okay, so context. I'm 28, and at the time this happened, I was working for a small marketing agency. Let's call it Digital Solutions Inc. And the owner, Tom. Tom was one of those entrepreneur types. You know, the guy who posts motivational quotes on LinkedIn but treats his employees like garbage. When I got hired, the job seemed great. Tom promised competitive pay, flexible hours, and a family atmosphere. The salary was $65,000 a year, which for my area and experience level was solid. I was excited. Red flag number one should have been that Tom insisted on paying me in cash for the first month. He said it was easier for accounting while they set up my direct deposit. I thought it was weird, but I was young and desperate for work, so I went with it. Month one, I work about 80 hours a week. Tom keeps saying we're building something special and that the extra hours will pay off. I'm doing the work of 3 people, managing social media for clients, designing graphics, writing copy, handling customer service. I'm exhausted, but I believe in the mission. End of month one. Tom hands me cash. I count it. It's only $3,500. I say, "Tom, my salary is $5,416 per month. This is $3,500. He says, "Yeah, we had some unexpected expenses this month. Cash flow issues. I'll make it up to you next month, I promise." I'm frustrated, but I think, okay, it's a small company. These things happen. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Month two. I'm working even more hours because Tom hired a new client, a huge account that brings in $50,000. I'm managing the entire project solo. Tom keeps telling me, "This is going to change everything for the company. Your hard work is going to pay off big time." End of month two. Tom says, "Hey, so cash flow is still tight. The client hasn't paid us yet. Can I pay you next month? I promise, double payment. You'll get month two and month three together." I say, "Tom, I have rent. I have bills. I need my paycheck." He says, "I get it, man. I really do. But if I pay you now, I can't make payroll for the other employees. You're my most reliable guy. I know you'll understand. Just one more month." Against my better judgment, I agree. Because what choice do I have? I've already worked 2 months. If I quit now, I'm out $8,500 and have nothing to show for it. Month three. I'm barely surviving. I'm borrowing money from friends to pay rent. I'm eating rice and beans for every meal. I'm working 90-hour weeks because Tom keeps piling on more projects, saying, "Once we get paid, you'll get a huge bonus. Just hang in there." End of month three. Tom sits me down and says, "Look, I'm going to be straight with you. Cash flow is really bad right now. I can't pay you this month either, but I'm working on a big investor deal. And once that goes through, I'll pay you everything I owe you plus a $5,000 bonus. I just need 2 more weeks." At this point, Tom owes me $15,000 in unpaid wages. I say, "Tom, I can't keep working for free. I need something." He says, "I'll give you $500 now. That's all I have. Take it or leave it." I take the $500 because I literally have $12 in my bank account. But here's where it gets interesting. That same week, I'm at the office late working on a project, and Tom walks in wearing a brand new Rolex. I'm talking a $15,000 Rolex, the exact amount he owes me. I say, "Nice watch." He says, "Yeah, treated myself. Gotta look successful to attract investors, you know?" I'm seeing red. This man owes me $15,000, and he just bought a $15,000 watch. That night, I can't sleep. I'm angry. I'm broke, and I'm done being a pushover. So I start doing research. First, I check the company's social media, which I manage. I noticed Tom posted photos from a weekend trip to Miami. He's on a yacht, drinking champagne, with a caption about living the dream. Then I remember I have access to the company's QuickBooks account. Tom gave me access months ago because he needed me to invoice clients. I log in, and guys, what I find is insane. The company has money, like a lot of money. The big client that supposedly hasn't paid yet paid in full 6 weeks ago, $50,000 sitting in the business account. But it gets worse. I start digging through expenses. Tom's been paying himself a salary of $15,000 per month while telling employees we have cash flow issues. He's been expensing personal purchases to the company: the Rolex, the Miami trip, an $8,000 laptop, a $12,000 boat, fancy dinners at steakhouses multiple times a week. He's been lying to all of us. There's no cash flow problem. Tom's just pocketing all the money. But then I find something even worse. Tom hasn't been paying payroll taxes. You know, the taxes that get deducted from employee paychecks and are supposed to go to the IRS? He's been taking that money and keeping it for over a year. That's a federal crime. I screenshot everything, every transaction, every expense report, every bank statement. I download it all to a USB drive and email it to myself. The next morning, I walk into Tom's office and say, "I need to talk to you about my paychecks." He sighs, annoyed, and says, "Dude, I told you, 2 more weeks." I say, "Tom, I've been patient, but I'm done. I need my money by Friday, or I'm taking legal action." He laughs, like actually laughs in my face. He says, "Legal action? Good luck with that. You signed an at-will employment contract. Sue me. See what happens. Now get back to work." I say, "I quit." He says, "Fine. Don't expect a recommendation." I walk out. Best decision I ever made. I go home and immediately start researching. I find out that in my state, employers are required to pay wages on time, and withholding payment is illegal. I can file a wage claim with the Department of Labor. So that's exactly what I do. I fill out the online form, upload all my documentation, pay stubs, text messages with Tom promising payment, my employment contract showing my salary. I submit it Monday morning. Within 48 hours, a Department of Labor investigator calls me. She says they're opening an investigation and that they take wage theft very seriously. She asks if there are other employees who haven't been paid. I say, "I don't know, but I suspect there might be." She says, "If you have any documentation of company finances, that would be helpful." I say, "As a matter of fact, I do." And I send her the QuickBooks screenshots showing Tom's lavish spending while owing employees money. She goes silent for a moment, then says, This is a lot more serious than unpaid wages. I'm going to need to escalate this." 2 weeks later, Tom gets served with a notice that he's being audited by the Department of Labor and the IRS. He calls me screaming, "What did you do? You're trying to destroy me." I say, "I asked for my paycheck. You laughed at me and told me to sue you, so I did something better." He threatens to sue me for theft of company documents. I say, "Go ahead. Those documents show you've been committing fraud. Good luck with that." And I hang up. But I'm not done. Because remember those unpaid payroll taxes? That's IRS criminal investigation territory. I call the IRS fraud hotline and report Tom for payroll tax evasion. I send them everything: the QuickBooks records, proof of employees, proof that taxes were deducted but never paid to the government. The IRS lady says, "Thank you for this information. We'll be in touch if we need anything else." 3 months go by. I get my wage claim settlement, $15,000 in back pay, plus $7,500 in penalties and interest, plus $3,000 for emotional distress. Total, $25,500. Tom is ordered to pay me within 30 days or face additional fines. He pays. I can tell it kills him, but he pays. I think that's the end of it. It's not. 6 months after I quit, I'm working at a new job. Way better, by the way. Actual paychecks that arrive on time. Imagine that. and I get a call from an unknown number. Hello, this is Special Agent Rodriguez with the FBI. We're investigating Thomas, last name, for wire fraud, tax evasion, and embezzlement. We understand you used to work for him. Would you be willing to answer some questions? I almost dropped my phone. The FBI, the actual FBI. Turns out my IRS report triggered a federal investigation. When the IRS audited Tom's company, they found that he'd been doing this for years. Not just withholding payroll taxes, but also lying to investors, inflating revenue numbers to get business loans, and using company funds for personal expenses. All federal crimes. The FBI had been building a case for months. They interviewed me, several other former employees, Tom's accountant, who quit when he realized what Tom was doing, and even some of Tom's clients who felt scammed. 1 year after I quit, Tom gets arrested at his home. I'm not there, but I see the mugshot online. He's charged with wire fraud, tax evasion, and embezzlement. Total amount stolen from the government and investors, over $300,000. He tries to fight it, hires an expensive lawyer, but the evidence is overwhelming, much of it from the QuickBooks records I provided. Tom takes a plea deal, 3 years in federal prison, $400,000 in restitution, and the business is seized by the government. The business, his precious Digital Solutions, Inc., is shut down. All assets are liquidated to pay back creditors, the IRS, and his victims. The office is boarded up. The website goes dark. Tom loses everything. His house, because he'd taken out a second mortgage to fund his lifestyle. His cars, leased with company funds so they're repossessed. His boat, seized by the feds. And his reputation. He goes to prison. 3 years in a federal penitentiary. But wait, there's more. Because this story has the most satisfying ending you can imagine. Remember how Tom's business got shut down? Well, all his former clients were left scrambling for a new marketing agency, and all his former employees were out of work. I'd been working at another agency for the past year, learning everything I could, saving money from my settlement. And I had an idea. Tom's biggest competitor in town was a small agency run by an older guy, Mark, who was looking to retire. I approached Mark and said, "What if I bought your business?" He was shocked. I was only 29, but I showed him my business plan, my industry experience, and my vision. He agreed to sell me the business for $150,000. I put down $50,000 from my settlement and savings and got a business loan for the rest. Within a month, I owned a marketing agency. First thing I did, I reached out to all of Tom's former employees, the ones who'd been screwed over just like me. I said, "I'm starting fresh, clean slate, fair pay, actual paychecks. Want to join me?" 7 out of 10 said yes. Then I reached out to Tom's former clients. I said, "I know you were burned by Digital Solutions. I was too, but I'm building something different, a company that values integrity and quality work. Give me a chance to prove it." Within 6 months, I'd signed contracts with 5 of Tom's former clients. Within a year, my company was generating $500,000 in annual revenue. Within 2 years, we hit $1.2 million. I'm now 32. I own a thriving marketing agency with 15 employees. We have a no BS policy, fair wages, reasonable hours, transparent finances. I share profits with my team every quarter. People actually want to work here. And Tom? He got out of prison 6 months ago. He tried to restart his career, but no one will hire him. He's a convicted felon with a fraud record. He's working as a shift manager at a fast food restaurant. Last month, one of my employees told me that Tom came into our office trying to drop off a resume. He didn't know it was my company. When he saw me, his face went white. He turned around and left without saying a word. Karma's a beautiful thing. So here's the lesson. If someone screws you over, don't get mad. Get evidence. Document everything. Use the system. The law exists to protect workers from wage theft and fraud. Tom thought he could bully me because I was young and desperate, but he forgot that desperate people have nothing to lose. and everything to gain. What do you think? Did Tom get what he deserved? Or should I have just moved on? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you love this story of ultimate justice, subscribe to Reddit After Dark for more insane revenge stories every single day at 9 p.m. Thanks for watching. Until next time, pay your employees or pay the price.